What's up, everybody? My name is Tony Hope, and you're listening to the Hear Me Roar podcast, a sports show where I run my mouth about all things sports. And tonight, not today, tonight, we are back recording another episode of Hear Me Roar from home. Me and my co-host Noble Lewis, and we're going to be bringing y'all another iteration of the Hear Me Roar podcast. And if you're not familiar with my voice, you better get used to it because I am the future of sports media. Like I said, it's tonight. It's Monday night. We're giving y'all another episode. It's gonna be dropping in the morning time, so it's not gonna drop tonight, but it's gonna be in the morning. So we're speaking from y'all. We're a few hours before it drops. But we got a lot to talk to y'all. We were both sick last week. I was sick from Monday through like Sunday. Like I was literally sick for a full calendar week. Couldn't do anything. And he was sick from like Tuesday through
Friday? Thursday, yeah, per Friday. Friday was like the first day I was healthy, so
yeah, this is the new 2024 year for us so far. As y'all see, I have my shades on. Today. Let me show y'all the brand real quick.
Right there.
I don't promote drug abuse. However, I got this ring light. My ring light is my flashlight on my phone because if I didn't, the lighting would not be acceptable. But you know what I'm saying? A lot to talk about. It's the NFL regular season.
It's finished. Benito.
It's over. It's time for the NFL playoffs. It's time for January football. Something that I always look forward to. It's always a fun time of the year, although that means it's coming to an end. But that means we have the best games of football to come. The brackets are set. The division or the conference leaders, the winners of each conference, they have their bye week coming up, and the rest of the playoffs are set. And we're going to talk to y'all about who we believe is going to win. Give y'all our Super Bowl picks. Talk about how each team's playoffs look going forward. Who's going to be going home after Wild Card Weekend? Who's going to be moving on? We're also going to be talking to y'all about some head coach firings. I can't wait to get into that one because Atlanta, we are one terrorist short. This is day one without terrorist Arthur Smith in our city, in our perimeter limits, and this is a joyous day. I had a great day today. It was cold outside. It wasn't sunny until about 1 o'clock. It doesn't matter. It didn't matter to me. I woke up happy that Arthur Smith is no longer employed, no longer will be living in this city. FedEx man is gone. He needs to pack his shit and go.
So give him 24 hours, man. They fired him at midnight. They said you gotta go.
I'm very happy. Black Monday for head coaches started early for Arthur Smith. We're also going to talk about the future of some other head coaches around the league who haven't been fired yet or haven't been dismissed. Dive into a little bit of basketball as well. And yeah, we're gonna have fun with this episode. Got a lot to talk about. We're gonna have some fun with this episode. Some overachievers and underachievers of the football season. So without further ado, we're gonna get right into it. But before we do, y'all already know the deal. Support us, share it, like, comment, subscribe on YouTube. Let us know what we're doing right. Let us know what we're doing wrong. Let me know if you like your boy Shades. I might, you know what I'm saying. If I get some good feedback, I might continue on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify. Give us a rating. Let us know how we're doing. We appreciate all listens. We appreciate all feedback. So let's get right into this.
Yes, sir.
So before we get into football or the playoff football, I'm going to circle back to Arthur Smith, Osama bin Smith getting just absolutely canned as soon as he
was basically as soon as he was able to.
Right after he delivered another 7-10 season. This is his third year in a row doing so. So he's quite frankly the definition of mediocrity. Like I've been saying. So that's 3 years in a row with first round picks on
the number 8 pick.
Yeah, top 10 picks on offensive weapons. This season it was Bijan Robinson. Last season it was Drake London. The season before that it was Kyle Pitts. 3 years using a first round pick on like pretty much generational talent, and for 3 years we finished 7-10. Like we've plateaued, no improvement. I'm very happy this man is gone. He is that I can applaud him for doing that. I can applaud him for being consistently trash. Trash at play calling, consistently trash at not sticking to his word, sticking to his QB, consistent at looking like a fucking dumbass on the sideline. I can applaud that. So thank you, Arthur Smith. You have produced a lot of memes for us for the last 3 years. You kept another terrorist employed last season with Marcus Mariota. We got his ass up on out of there. So now you got your ass up on out of there too. So the future is up. I can't complain. You know what I'm saying? We still got to figure out the quarterback position. Desmond Ridder is not it clearly. Taylor Heineke is not it clearly. Desmond Ridder did his usual thing against the Saints on Sunday night or Sunday day when he threw an interception in the most bonehead way. We got beat like 41-17. Didn't score a single point in the second half, by the way. Well, I'm not counting.
You know what the last 7. You know what the last 7 is.
I'm not counting that last touchdown because the Saints are a trash organization as well, filled with mutants, or the players had a mutiny against their head coach, completely disrespectful and selfish play. Okay. It was like the last minute of the game. They're on the 1 yard line. What was it? What got us to that point? Tyrann Mathieu.
He returned the pick to the 1. I don't know how he got caught there too. I don't know what happened, but so he ended up on the 1.
We ended up on a 1 yard line. The Saints, was Jameis Winston in the game?
Yeah, but they only put him in for that formation, which is weird to me. I don't know. Do teams normally do that?
No, they don't. So Jameis Winston was in the game, and they lined up in a kneel formation to just burn the clock. Like we lost. So the Saints lined up in a kneel formation. These niggas hiked the ball, gave it to Jamal Williams, and he ran in for a touchdown in garbage time. And after the game, Arthur Smith blew up at Dennis Allen, was cussing him out, and it's funny that that's the last image that we'll ever have of Arthur Smith is him cussing out Dennis Allen, pretty much saying that's some bitch shit, which is understandable too. Turns out Dennis Allen didn't want to run the play. He just wanted to kneel it. Jameis Winston ass said, fuck it. We're going to give Jamal Williams,
his first study.
Didn't have a single touchdown.
After 17 he had 17 or 18 touchdowns last year.
Season last year. And this year, 0. So they wanted to give him his first touchdown on the year against us. Against us in garbage time. And they had to fake a kneel to get it. They couldn't even line up in goal line formation. They had to fake a kneel.
They lined up in goal line. Dennis Allen would have called a timeout.
I don't care. If you're going to go against your coach like that, be real and do it all the way.
Hey, for me, it looked like tush push. I mean, it didn't look like kneel down. It looked like tush push to me. That didn't look that much different. Oh,
that was a goddamn kneel formation. That was a kneel formation. I was looking up there seeing it, and on one hand, I get it. You wanna support your teammate, your brother, all that. You know what I'm saying? Blase. And it's against a rival team. Yeah, but like I get it.
Pretty thick rivalry too. Like that's not like you guys versus the Panthers. This is hate week. Falcons-Saints. That's not.
I get it. Like, but this is a throwaway game. Y'all niggas weren't gonna make the playoffs, bro. Like y'all had a chance, but y'all weren't gonna make the playoffs. So like, if this is
made it at the Bucks lost, right?
No, they would have made it if the Bucks lost, but since they didn't, they needed the Packers and the Seahawks to lose.
They almost got
Only
it.
one of those got
Packers only won like what, 9-7 or 17-9.
No, I knew they weren't going to make it in. The Saints after this season, I knew they weren't going to make it in. This something was going to go wrong for them, and thank God it did by the Packers winning. Well, yeah, it was just I don't know. I'm clearly making a big deal about it because both of us we're both on the couch right now, but it was just weird. So I don't know what that means for Dennis Allen, like for him to. Like
he's got to go. He don't.
Yeah,
if your players don't, first off, not only did Jameis do that, but if you look on Twitter right now, Alvin Kamara tweeted out my naysayer. We all know what that's code word for. He tweeted out my naysayer, Jameis Winston. Jimmy Graham, who's been there for one season, tweeted out a whole paragraph dedicated to how Jameis is a great teammate. You had the offensive lineman sticking up for him. I mean, it's not like he ran the play by himself. The offensive lineman wanted to run it for him too. The offensive line were sticking up for him. You had all sorts of players coming to his defense saying he's a great, this Raven. Even Derek Carr said was in support of Jameis over Dennis Allen. And he's kind of been the villain in New Orleans. We saw a couple weeks ago how Ronnie felt about Derek Carr. So Saints fans, not even, it's kind of like the villain switching sides. So Derek Carr for me, Dennis Allen for me, he's got to go. He doesn't have the locker room in the slightest. And the difference between, I was going to bring him up in the overachievers, but Antonio Pierce, the difference between a head coach that has the locker room and the head coach that doesn't is a head coach that players want to play for will turn losses into wins. Games you should lose, those turn into wins. A head coach that nobody wants to play for, those will turn wins into losses. And we've seen that time and time. We've seen that with Brandon Staley. They won games that not only was Brandon Staley not a good coach, but in my opinion, I don't think he necessarily had the locker room. It wasn't very negative, but I don't think it was a very positive influence.
Josh McDaniels.
Look at how the Raiders turned it around. Best example. The Saints, they dropped games that they probably should have won. Falcons dropped games that they should have won. So, I mean, whether it's due to incompetence or what, first off, Dennis Allen is not that great of a coach, to be honest.
Not at all.
But the fact that he flat out players are coming out against you and in support of their teammate over you, the head coach, making a decision is done. There's nothing, you can't come back from that. There's nothing you can do to come back from that unless you not only did you throw Jameis under the bus and just flat out say, oh, that wasn't my decision. But they don't support. It's clearly, like you said, a mutiny. Like they don't. You are not the captain of this ship right now. Right now, the players are controlling this ship, and without the captain, if the captain doesn't have the crew, you might as well walk the plank, bro.
Yeah. So it's Dennis Allen, disappointing season as well for him and the Saints. Hasn't been fired yet. The only two coaches that have been formally released is Ron Rivera for the Commanders and Arthur Smith. And
saw both of those coming though.
Yeah, like Arthur Smith, it was kind of in limbo. I was like, man, I don't know because he's cool with Arthur
Blank was kind of glazing.
Yeah, he was kind of like, and it was making it look weird. But we dropped the last 5. Like we only won one in those games.
One of those being to the 2-15 Packers.
Yeah,
I mean Panthers.
Yeah, and if you look at like just some of these losses we've had, like you said, the Panthers we lost to, and I've said this how many times on this show, bro. We lost to Will Levis's debut. He dropped like 4 touchdowns on us. We lost to Josh Dobbs, who was flown in 72 hours prior to the game. We lost to Kyler Murray in his return. Like these are all of these games that we should have won. These are games, and then in the Saints, in the last Saints game, we played literally Desmond Ridder played a perfect first half, perfect passer rating. The whole team played perfect. The score was tied 17-17. The game ended 48-17. So what just went wrong? Like to where you get outscored by that much points, 30 plus points. He got the quarterback decision wrong. Rolling with Desmond Ridder, then switching to Taylor Heineke, then switching back to Desmond Ridder. At that point,
back to Taylor Heineke.
Yeah, like you already know your job is you screwed the pooch. Um, so, but now that he's gone, I never want to have to speak another word of him ever again. Um, right now, I'm looking forward. What's next? Terry Fontenot, you got to get this draft right. We got the eighth pick again. We have the eighth pick again.
3 years in a row.
Three, like I said, completely mediocre, consistent at being trash. We have the eighth pick. We got some. We have what's his name? What's the Heisman winner? Jaden Daniels.
Daniels, Drake
Yeah,
May. You got
you
what's
gotta
his
pick a quarterback. Like you
Michael
have
Penix.
to. You
You
have
got a
to
lot.
pick a quarterback with this eighth pick. And that's my opinion because it's like, or we
Assuming
don't.
like Fields doesn't leave.
Yeah, that was like assuming we don't get Justin Fields, or even they're throwing Russell Wilson's name out there. He got benched by the Broncos 2 weeks ago, and he's been slated to possibly come here. I'm not sure how valid those rumors are, but whatever the case may be, you have to make this next season. Dude, there has to be improvement from whoever we hire to whoever we put at that quarterback position, because that is it's a glaring hole. Desmond Ridder, he could be a serviceable backup. If he stays on the roster, I'm cool with that. But we have to lock up that quarterback position. So whoever is the head coach, you have to home run with that. Whoever we pick at quarterback, whether it's in a draft or whether it's bringing in someone like Justin Fields, you have to get this right, because otherwise, you're also the person who picked the Desmond Ridder. You're also the person who picked Bijan and Kyle Pitts and Drake London. So at this point, we can't just blame Arthur Smith no more. We got to look at you too. We've also been 7-10 for 3 straight years under your general manager regime. So we're not. I'm not going to. You're not going to duck accountability neither, Terry. So with that, I hope I never have to ever speak about Arthur Smith ever again on this show. Ever. I hope I never see him in person.
I
And I hope
think
I never
there's been some stuff about Vrabel as well from Tennessee. I
Mike
think he would
Vrabel.
be, yeah, I think he'd be a solid fit with the defense y'all got.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah,
And
he's a
then the
defensive
running
minded coach.
game. I mean, you know how he was with the running game back in Tennessee with Derrick Henry. You know,
I
Bijan's
didn't hear nothing
obviously a
about
top.
that.
I've heard a little bit of noise of Vrabel because, well, not about the Falcons in particular, but I've heard noise about him going to New England if Belichick
Bill
leaves. So,
Belichick leaves.
but even if it just, that's a whole carousel and how they do with NFL coaches. So we'll
Right,
see.
yeah. I like Mike Vrabel. I wouldn't mind taking him. People were talking about Bill Belichick coming to Atlanta. I don't want that man unless Tom Brady and Matt Patricia and Josh McDaniels and the whole 2018 Super Bowl run team comes with him.
I don't
If
know if
that
that's Josh
whole
McDaniels.
squadron doesn't come, I don't want it. What I want that old man for? Like,
Yeah, no, I don't. He just doesn't fit Atlanta to me. Like
he doesn't.
there's certain coaches that fit where they are. Shanahan fits in San Francisco. Andy Reid fits in Kansas City. Belichick fit in New England. I
Yeah.
can't look at Atlanta and think Bill Belichick.
Can you imagine the camera pan to Bill Belichick on the sideline while young Jeezy is blasting on the goddamn speakers, bro? You got Ludacris coming from the sky,
I was
bro.
about to say, what would he say? What would he be doing while Ludacris is falling out of the sky, man?
Right.
Little baby performing out there, man, like that. I just don't see Belichick embodying Atlanta, like Sean Payton embodied New Orleans when he was there.
Yeah.
It's just I don't see that. I don't see that at all. It didn't work for me.
I mean, and we haven't had a coach that has embodied this team like ever. Like Dan Quinn, he did a good job when he was here up until post 2017. After Julio Jones slipped in the end zone, his career was. I knew it. I knew it. That is it's crazy how we can always put a finger on certain things. When Julio Jones slipped in the end zone on that fourth down to tie the game, I knew it was over. I said we should have scrapped. We should have just fired him right then and there. Should have blew up that whole team. minus Matt Ryan. But yeah, so that's the Falcons run around. Ron Rivera, he got fired from coaching at the Washington Commanders. Sucks for him. Like, he was thrown a horrible card with just the complete disarray that franchise was in.
Yeah, but he was also, I mean, that offense, there's a lot of stuff that could have went, like, because they're kind of how you guys are. They don't have quite as much talent, but they've got Terry McLaurin. Sam Howell is decent, but that's why they fired the GM and they fired Ron Rivera, because the offensive line was dismay. It was terrible.
Yeah,
he was the most sacked, I believe, the most sacked quarterback in football. So, I mean, part of it, you could argue holds the ball too long, but more of it was just a terrible offensive line. So that Sam Howell's decent. I want to see what he can do with the actual offensive line before I make a clear judgment, and then actually another year. But they got Brian Robinson in the backfield. They got Curtis Samuel and Terry McLaurin on the outside, and then Jahan Dotson. So they've got some talent out there. Defensively, they got a lot to figure out because they traded away all their talent. But I don't think it's as undesirable of a job as it looked based on the season. I think if you look at the actual roster construction, a good GM and a good head coach can turn them around to maybe even I would say a low wild card team, just depending on what they're able to strike on in the draft and things of that sort. But it would just depend on factors like that. But I don't think it's a quite an undesirable position, and I don't think Ron Rivera, while he was dealt a pretty bad hand, I don't think he's blameless. Clearly not, because he got fired.
Oh no, yeah, no, definitely not blameless, not at all. But like, he had to go through Dan Snyder as the owner, and that whole like circus that came with him being a shitty person. The name changes, going from the Washington Redskins to the Washington football team to the Washington Commanders. He had to deal with cancer while coaching. Like, just that little that tenure of his, it was just
very, very nonsensical,
tumultuous.
A lot,
like, yeah,
just a lot,
a lot. So Jim Harbaugh, he's coaching in the national championship right now. He's also been a name, he's a name that's been thrown around for coaching candidacy, but it's been like that every year. I know that college football money is nice, and he was in NFL. Coach against his brother in the Super Bowl, Ravens versus 49ers in 2012. But after that, I've seen some of the money these college coaches are making, and after he wins this national championship, I don't know if that man's gonna want to ever leave.
Yeah, they're up 34-13 with 3 minutes left, so they're pretty much they're
sealed deal.
Yeah, and they got the ball first and goal, so
it might be. It's BS that Georgia isn't playing right now. Go Dogs! This is what happens when you don't have an SEC team in the national championship.
I don't know if you remember, the SEC team last year won 60-7. So, I mean, you guys, that's what happens when you have two SEC teams, maybe, because you guys, that wasn't fun last year. That was terrible.
Hey, it was fun for me. It was fun for me. It was fun for me. You speak for yourself. It was fun for me. So yeah, like I said, man, y'all better now mess up next year. You better. I know they're expanding the college football playoffs. That should be interesting. We can definitely add that to the
overdue. I'm not gonna lie to me. I was always. I mean, I'm not as big of a college fan, but I was always intrigued that only four teams get an opportunity, and then it leads to stuff that happens like Florida State and things of that sort, where they don't even get a chance to see how they're going undefeated. They don't even get a chance to see what they're made of. So I think I'm excited to actually I'm gonna actually pay attention, like for real, because it's a much more intriguing playoff dynamic. It's like, I mean, like, just imagine if in the NCAA finals it wasn't 64 teams, it was just 4. I mean, it just never seemed like a fair. You could never have a fair assessment from 4 teams because
everybody feels left out. There's always going to be that one team that feels left out. Now you got more spots. If you get left out, you probably deserve it.
Yeah. So now it's a more intriguing product to me. I'm actually I'm intrigued by it. I think it's going to work really well because we're going to see some upsets. We're going to see a lot of things that, we'll see whether teams are legit, how legit the conference variation is, and things of that sort. So I'm excited.
Me too. And I know we kind of touched on before we start talking about some real deal football. You said that the Commanders hired or they fired their GM as well. They ended up hiring ex-Warriors general manager
Bob
Myers.
I forgot about that.
Like that was odd to see.
That came out of left field for me. I'm not gonna lie.
Bob got tired of doing TV. He went from building dynasties with the Warriors to advising new Commanders owner Josh Harris's ownership group. So
I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued. That's an interesting move because
what the hell does that nigga know about football?
That's what I'm saying. Like, have we really ever seen somebody jump sports like this?
No.
So we'll see, like, what he's because I just don't know what his evaluation process is going to be like. Because what does he know about football? Like, he's been in basketball, but he built a dynasty in basketball, but that's basketball.
What does he know? I don't know where he's hiding from us. I don't know, but I'm interested to find out.
We'll see.
So yeah, that was just super out of left field.
He's clearly he can somewhat evaluate talent. We'll have to see. All
right, so let's now transition to talking about the NFL playoffs. It is this weekend. We have a full slate of games. On Saturday, we have 2 games. Sunday, 3 games, and on Monday, 1 game. And one of these games, what is it? Before we get into that, these are the matchups. We have the 5th-seeded Browns going against the 4th-seeded Texans. The 6th-seeded Miami Dolphins playing the 3-seeded Kansas City Chiefs. The 7th-seeded Steelers playing the 2nd-seeded Buffalo Bills. Out in the NFC, we have the 7th-seeded Green Bay Packers playing the number 2 seed Dallas Cowboys. The number 6 seed Los Angeles Rams playing the number 3 seed Lions. And the number 5 seed Eagles playing the number 4 seed Buccaneers. The Kansas City Chiefs versus Dolphins game is on Peacock. This is the first NFL game that is going to be on a streaming service.
Playoff game, yeah.
Yeah, playoff game. They've had games on Peacock. I want somebody to tell me how that was. Because I for damn sure am not going to pay a subscription.
I have no idea what that.
Can you tell me how it was?
I don't know who the broadcast team is or anything.
I don't know, but I did make sure to watch the game. But I'm not going to reveal my sources to everybody. You can find your own sites, but we're going to see how it is. And I have my own ways of watching Kansas City versus Miami on Saturday as well. So I don't know. I guess. The NFL is going to try to see how much money they can.
You know what he's going to get from that, man? They put Kansas City on that on purpose. You know why?
Oh, because Taylor Swift going to be in the
Swifties paying for that Peacock.
Yeah, they're gonna make sure they see
Peacock. They're gonna put that camera on Taylor Swift too. You know what they're gonna do.
That's what they coming for. So we're gonna see how that works. I know when they put Thursday Night Football on Amazon, it didn't make a difference for me because I already was paying for Prime, so it didn't make no difference.
I was used to watching Thursday Night Football in the gym because I normally catch Monday Night Football in the gym. It wasn't on. I couldn't catch it in the gym, so
yeah,
it was a pretty substantial change for me. But at the end of the day, I'm gonna watch it if I really want to watch it. We all know how to watch.
Yeah, we didn't just go back, right? Yeah,
we really want to watch games, so
I wonder who be running those sites. Like what database are they running, or to where they got all of these streams? And
I don't question it. I just reap the benefits.
Yeah.
Let's
not incriminate ourselves any further. So the Baltimore Ravens and the San Francisco 49ers have a bye week. They will be playing the lowest seed out of all of the winners. And with that, where shall we begin? Where do you want to begin?
Let me just start like at the top. For me, the top right now is Houston, Cleveland. So I think for them,
that's gonna be a good game.
Yeah, it's gonna be a great game. We're gonna see a dynamic offense going against pretty much the best defense in the NFL. So, or if at lowest top 3. So, that's gonna be a immovable object versus unstoppable force. So we'll see CJ Stroud go out there. Of course, earlier in the season they lost Tank Dell, but Nico Collins, him and Stroud got that connection back going again. We saw him go off in the playoff clincher. So in week 18. So we'll see how that connection can go in. But congratulations to him, D'Amico Ryans. Congratulations to him. I mean, as a 49er fan, I had faith that he would be a great coach because I saw how he carried himself as defensive coordinator and what he did for our team as defensive coordinator. But it's great to see it come through fruition in a job that pretty much nobody wanted. I don't think many people wanted that Texans position, but they hit on CJ Stroud, they hit on D'Amico, and now they got themselves a playoff run and they got some great brewing in the city of Houston. So congratulations to them.
And the Texans got that number 4 seed by beating the Colts last Sunday. They beat them 23-19. This was the game that CJ Stroud played in. He missed the previous 2 with an injury. And this is only the 7th time in all of the Texans' existence that they've made the playoffs. They've only been in the NFL since 2002, so a little over 20 years. So this is their 7th time. And it's their 7th time comes on the rookie year of their first round, number 2 pick, quarterback. That is a great sign with the rookie head coach. You look at some of the great players that they've had. Clearly, the biggest 2 being J.J. Watt and Andre Johnson. For them to only make the playoffs 6 times before CJ
D-Hop.
and D-Hop, and shit. Now we're going to bring him up too. Deshaun Watson as well in 2018. I think wasn't that the last time they made it?
Probably, or I think it was 18 or 19. What one of those years? I can't remember if it was 19. I think 19 was when they collapsed against the Chiefs.
So it was 2019. Damn, and just now that you say that, I remember I miss the days when the 3 best receivers in the league were Antonio Brown, Julio, and D-Hop. I would sit there in high school and fight people that Julio is the number 1 receiver in the league. You can fight me about it. He's better than Antonio Brown. Like just straight arguments for days. I would ride or die for Jet, and I miss him a lot. I miss those days in general. Like that was a really good just cast of wide receivers. OBJ, of course, too. Devontae Adams, Julius Landry, or Jarvis Landry, not Julius. Jarvis Landry, from when he was on the Dolphins. Just a really good time of football. Of course, we still got a lot of talented receivers, but nostalgia always will win.
Yeah, receiver position especially is very deep, especially like NFC. When I was looking at the Pro Bowlers, you saw like Amon-Ra had a 1,500-yard season and didn't make the Pro Bowl, but I couldn't entirely argue him over the ones that made it because it was Puka who broke the rookie receiving record, so that it was kind of like you kind of have to put him in
catching record.
Yeah, exactly. So you got him breaking rookie records. So it's like, you kind of got to put him in there. And then you got Mike Evans, who's had a terrific season. And then for the life of me, I can't think of the third receiver, but it was the 3rd and 4th receiver. But it was like there's a lot of snubs, and it was very, very competitive spot. So I say receiver in particular is in a very good position right now. CD.
Did Justin Jefferson make it?
I don't think so because he missed too many games. He missed like 7 games. Let me see. Oh, CD, AJ Brown, Mike Evans, and Puka.
That's crazy because I know he did miss so many games, but he still finished like over 1,000 yards.
Over 1,000 with Nick Mullins or like Kirk for like 5 games. Then he got hurt. Then came back with Nick Mullins and Josh Dobbs, and then the other the one that they just drafted. So like he in my eyes he's still receiver 1. I don't care what anybody says. Tyreek is great. CD is great. Jettis is still wide receiver 1. And he was hurt last year, but I think next year he's going to show y'all exactly why he's wide receiver 1. in general, we went a little off topic, but receiver right now is in a very good spot, especially in NFC, because you got Ayuk, who got snubbed in my eyes, but I'm a 49er fan, so.
Yeah. Debo didn't make it either?
Neither of them. It helps the agenda, though. Helps the Purdy. No Pro Bowl receivers for Purdy. That helps the agenda. I like it.
That's insane. But yeah, so yeah, great job for the Houston Texans. I don't know. I really think that it's if I were to bet, I will probably swing my money towards Kevin Stefanski and the Browns, because of how great that defense is, plus Joe Flacco and his career resurgence. Like, this man just said, all right, I'm gonna roll the clock back.
Nothing to lose. Amari Cooper and Njoku got to be down there somewhere.
Right. I think the Texans' key to winning is to just be their defense. They gotta be just flying all over the field, making life as difficult as possible for Amari Cooper and David Njoku and the rest of the receiving core, for their front seven or their D line. Do not let Puna Ford or what's his name? Jerome Ford, not Puna. I'm tripping. Jerome Ford go off. They still are without Nick Chubb. Don't let the run game go off for them. And their defense they have to fly around, and Joe Flacco is still prone to turning the ball over. Try to get turnovers early and have CJ Stroud capitalize them on the other end. That's also another thing. Because I know they're going to get some. Once you get those turnovers, you got to convert them into points. You can't leave points on the field because, we've seen it with players like Brett Favre, and we're seeing it with Joe Flacco. They're okay with throwing 5 interceptions if their defense can get the ball back in their hands. They're fine with throwing 5 interceptions if the defense is keeping the game at a minimal point score for the other side. I think that's the key for the Texans to win. And for the Browns, let Flacco cook. I know the defense is going to do what they're going to do. Yeah, let Flacco cook. Try to limit turnovers.
Yeah, for me,
get Amari Cooper involved for sure too.
For me, Houston, I would say keys to victory for me is to, I would say, get CJ Stroud going early. I don't think they should wait to get him comfortable. I think they need to focus on getting him in the flow. Him, Nico, forgot the tight ends, Dalton Schultz. Get them going early, which will give you the opportunity to bring back the run, because the Browns are one of the best rushing defenses in the league. If you try, you don't want to waste the whole first half or whole first quarter even trying to run the ball and you getting 3 and outs, 1 first down, 2 first down. No, you want to get your offense flowing early, put some points on the board early, come out aggressive so that you can get that offense settled in, because against a defense like this, we see a defense like this typically gets better as the game progresses. They're great at making adjustments, and once they settle in and they can just pin their ears back, especially if they're playing from behind, or the Texans are playing from behind, once the defense can just pin their ears back and go at the quarterback, we see what happens when top defenses can do that. And especially with a pass rush as ferocious as the Browns is, they have to get that offense going early. The Browns, for me, limiting the deep ball. The Texans are one of the best. We saw the 75-yard touchdown CJ Stroud just threw the other day. We've seen multiple plays like that from them. So limiting the deep ball on defense, stuffing the run. I know they're not going to, that's what they're used to doing. So I know they can do that. And then on offense, like you said, let Flacco cook, man. Just let him play his game. Let Jerome Ford, get the running game going so that you can let him get the running game going so that you can tell Flacco to just air it out once the defense is set in on stopping the run. But I have as for a pick, I'm gonna have to go with the vet on this one, man. I'm gonna have to go with Flacco and the Browns. I think they've got that edge. I think the defense in the playoffs is especially a little bit more important. And so I think, in my opinion, even though they're going to Houston, it's not exactly. Oh, well, they had good fan turnout, but it's not exactly like one of the more hostile crowds in the league.
Yeah.
I think.
Hey, Energy Stadium gonna be deep though. They're
Yeah,
gonna
they
be deep.
they show out. They show out. I'm
Yeah,
not
they're
gonna lie
gonna
to
be
you, but
deep.
I don't think they just it's a young Texans team. They're gonna. I think if they do get a win, that'll be crazy. That'll be honestly that'll be
Yeah.
a little bit because I mean this is a rookie quarterback. When was the last time we've seen a rookie quarterback even win a playoff game? I don't know who it would be. But yeah, so I think I got the Browns on this
We'll
one, but
start.
I think it's gonna be a good fight for sure.
Yeah, I'm excited for that one. So that's the 4th and the 5th seed matchup in the AFC. Next, let's do Kansas City versus Miami. Miami's gonna have to go on the road, play at Arrowhead. That was
Two low key disappointing teams for me. I'm
Yeah, I'm
not
about
gonna
to say
lie.
the Dolphins let me down at the end of the season right there. They should be playing at home at Hard Rock. But they lost last night against they lost Sunday against the Bills in bad fashion too, honestly. Like Josh Allen made so many mistakes early. They were winning. And the way that Tua ended the game and they had a chance. They had a chance. And Tua threw an interception in the game.
Do a double coverage with Chase
Yeah.
Claypool. He threw
Right.
like that. Like this is a very interesting decision. I mean, I know Hill went out towards the end. Waddle was out, but I mean, we said this earlier about Tyreek Hill. What is your offense doing when Tyreek Hill is out? I mean, we saw them come back against the Jets and like go crazy without Tyreek Hill. But again, what we said earlier in the year, what are you guys going to do if Tyreek Hill isn't healthy? If Jalen Waddle isn't healthy? I mean, I know that's losing two heavy hitters, but
Yeah.
it's a legit question because at this point, their health is a genuine concern. What are you going to do? Raheem Mostert didn't play. So you got Achan, who is one of the better backs in the league, but
He
it's just
is.
there we need their offense to show some consistency because like they went up 14 early in the game and then didn't score again for the rest of the game. Like that's what we're talking about in terms of like their offense just seems to be either hit or miss. And so I think it'll come down. I don't really have faith in this Dolphins team right now, especially not going into Arrowhead.
Yeah, and it is gonna be a tough game. It was I mean everybody played the full game against the Bills too, so it's not like you could have rested any starters like the Chiefs did. The Chiefs already had their playoff position locked up, so they rested Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, all the starters. They played some on defense like Chris Jones because he ended up getting his 10th sack, getting about $1.25 million in incentives.
One
Yeah,
set.
that's crazy.
Third quarter.
That's crazy. But still, like you're looking at one team who's going to be much more rested and healthy compared to another. The Dolphins have a chance. Like it isn't like previous seasons where it's like, damn, they playing the Chiefs wild card. Yeah, it's a wrap. Playing them at home, it's a wrap. It isn't over yet. I don't want to write them off early, but I like pretty much everything you said offensively, defensively, like their linebacker position was cooked. Like there were so many injuries. They're going to need to cause Jalen Ramsey, Xavier Howard. They're going to have to frustrate these Chiefs receivers.
It shouldn't be
to
too
make
hard.
Yeah, it shouldn't be too hard.
Not for the
they have
caliber they are.
right. They have to take advantage of it. Because if you getting beat by Steph, like you having to cover Stephon Diggs is one thing. Now you got to go cover Skylar Moore and Kadarius Toney and Marquez Valdez. Like there's a clear gap here. This is favorable for your two All-Pro or former All-Pro, still top cornerbacks in the league. Tua. Get like stop trying to be as consistent as possible. Yeah, because when you make turnovers, they're ugly turnovers. And I guess try to get the whole team involved. Like we know that you can be deep. You can have the home run with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, but you're gonna be in Arrowhead. It's gonna be cold, bro. Like you're gonna have to, try to get everyone involved as possible. Don't abandon what you do. You got is Raheem Mostert healthy?
I think
Not
he'll be
sure.
healthy going into it. I'm not sure. I think they just sat him as a
Precaution.
yeah,
Okay. Well,
but
they got their run game. They have their run game going. Get it going early. Um, and yeah, I can see the Chiefs winning. Matter of fact, I'm gonna put my money on the Chiefs, or not the Chiefs, the Dolphins. I can see the Dolphins winning.
Dolphins really.
Yeah, I'm gonna put my money on the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins are gonna get it done. We're gonna see Patrick Mahomes go home early. We're gonna see some Swifties cry on Peacock.
Well, I think that would be a very fitting end to this season for the Chiefs because overall it's just been
Yeah,
very disappointing year. We'll get into that in terms of the overachievers and underachievers, but just overall and in general, Kelsey for the first time in 7 seasons or 8 seasons didn't hit 1,000 yards. He's only like 30 something yards off, but he didn't hit 1,000 yards. Just overall a down year for the Chiefs, and this has been kind of ugly. So I think it would be very fitting if they got knocked out in the first round. But I still have them winning.
we have the Chiefs winning. Okay. Well, there we go. There's our first difference in bracket. And if that were the case, if the Miami Dolphins were to win, they'd be the lowest seed and they had to go play Baltimore. And we saw how that turned out earlier this year.
Unless Pittsburgh wins.
Unless Pittsburgh wins. And speaking of Pittsburgh, they play the Buffalo Bills at Buffalo. The Bills locked that. They won the AFC East, ended up getting that second seed. And the easiest, I guess, well, I don't say easiest, but statistically speaking, easiest matchup of the wild card. They had to come back from behind and beat the Dolphins, and that was pretty, symbolic of just how their season was. They started off pretty rough, really, really ugly, and they still have problems. They had a lot of glaring holes. Josh Allen trying to think, doing a little too much. But we kind of saw in the third quarter when he plays better. It seems like Josh Allen plays better when the offense is in a rush with him. Does that make sense? You know what I'm saying? Like when the offense is when the offense is slow and we're going through our progressions and we're going play by play, going through the motions, going through downs, he seems more prone to try to do too much.
Mm-hmm.
When they're in a no huddle, when they're in a hurry up offense, when they're just going, when they're going, you know what I'm saying? Where it's
I agree with what you're saying. I
the
do.
defense is going to be out of position, and y'all, if y'all's route, just break off the route. I'm gonna find you. I think Josh Allen is much better in those situations than he is, leading a team downfield.
Yeah, I agree. It's kind of like watching in basketball an offense that's good in transition versus like half court offense.
Yeah.
Like I think they're a good transition team. They're good when the pace is high, it's flowing. But when it gets to that half court and it's play by play and just a slow shrug, it just doesn't seem like they're not the same. They're not the same.
Yeah.
And Josh Allen, like you said, he starts, I don't want to say pretty much overthinking, and he'll throw interception where it's like, what was he looking at? But yeah, for me, Buffalo is just turnovers. Just limit the turnovers. There ain't enough black magic in the world left for Mike Tomlin to get this victory, in my eyes. Mason Rudolph is the starting quarterback. So for me, Buffalo, you're playing at home. You're playing against Mason Rudolph at quarterback.
Right.
You got no excuse to lose this game. But the Bills all year have been almost like play to the level of their opponents. If their opponents are bad, they just play rough for whatever reason. If their opponents are good, they're gonna play good. So we'll have to see. They just need to limit the turnover. If Josh Allen just goes out there and does his thing, it's pretty much. I don't want to say it's all on him because no one game is all on one player. But the Bills live and die with Josh Allen right now.
They do.
If he has a good game, they do well. If he doesn't have a good game, they be turning the ball over. They're not going to win. So I still have the Bills. Like almost wholeheartedly, 99% sure the Bills.
I do too. I do as well. And the only way for the Steelers, firstly, TJ Watt got hurt playing the Ravens. Now I'm not sure the severity of the injury, but the man got hurt playing on Saturday against the Ravens, where the game in which they won, and pretty much got their way into the playoffs that way. The Ravens rested everybody, by the way. But the only way I see the Steelers winning is, number one, George Pickens has to get involved. He didn't get like a catch last night.
All right. This is I'm because I lost my fantasy because of him. I lost by 9 points. George Pickens in a game where they must win had 0.3 fantasy points. You know how he got that? One rush for 3 yards. No targets. Not even not just no catches. No targets in the passing game. Mason Rudolph, I'm putting a hit out on you, bro. That's unacceptable. That he had 0 targets. I don't know how they won, or I do know how they won because they were going against the bench Ravens, but that was ridiculous. That was actually the most disappointing thing I've ever seen in my like watching him finish that game with 0.3. I would have rather him had 0 because 0.3 was a spit in my face. But yeah, that's that they gotta get him the ball.
Right. Like and because firstly he's gonna he's proved what he can do. Like remember that game where he had about 240 like
3 weeks ago.
Right. So I don't know if it's play calling or if it's quarterbacks. If like he's not, I don't know if he's scared to throw the ball downfield to him and give him a chance. But you have to get George Pickens involved. Najee Harris in the run game has to get going early. You can't have these 3-yard rushes. Or you can't go first down 3 yards, second down 2 yards, and then having to throw because you got Mason Rudolph back there in the backfield. And on third down, third and medium, third and long, I don't even want to think about what he's going to do under pressure when the Bills send heat at him. So you got to get the pass game going early, specifically George Pickens. That's like the only way I can see a win happening because if you do, guess what Josh Allen's going to want to do? He's going to want to try to go band for band with you, bro. He's going to go band for band like, okay, if you can get George Pickens going, I can get Stephon Diggs going. And once again, we were just saying, once Josh Allen kind of does too much, he's prone to mistakes. He plays well in a hurry, but when it's not necessary, it causes problems. Yeah, like it causes problems. So I do see the Bills winning, but that's the only way the Steelers can win. We've seen crazier upsets. If Mason Rudolph gets a win over Josh Allen, we have a lot to talk about. Sean McDermott, you're the next terrorist in line.
Yeah, he's actually a terrorist. He's embracing out.
Right.
And they're 5-0 since he converted to Islam. They were 5-0, so maybe it's working out somewhere.
Right. So I don't. Hey, you better pray to whoever that he better get that he doesn't lose to Mason Rudolph, bro.
Yeah, that would be rough. I'm not gonna lie to you.
So if with your predictions, it would be the Cleveland Browns playing the Ravens, and with mine, it'd be the Miami Dolphins. So, which out of our 2 picks would you believe would give the Baltimore Ravens the most problem? Browns, Cleveland for easily. You or Miami for me?
Easily the Browns.
And why?
We saw what I mean. I don't want to do regular season. We've seen regular season wins not mean in the playoffs, but I do think the Browns, specifically that defense going against that Ravens offense, is a much better matchup than the Dolphins, who I don't think they would have an answer for the Ravens offense. They got Bradley Chubb got hurt in that game. They got their all-pro corners, but I don't think they would have any answer for the run game. And then defensively, I don't, especially if depending on the health of Hill, Waddle, Mostert, I don't know how that offense would go going against the Ravens. I would love to see Joe Flacco. First off, Joe Flacco, the return to Baltimore.
That would be crazy.
That would be cool.
That'd be crazy.
And then, so I think he would have a little bit of chip on his shoulder. And then also, I think, just personally, I think they match up a lot better than the Dolphins. I think the Ravens is probably one of the worst matchups that the Dolphins could have, because like we saw in the regular season game, they take away they're not going to let you get a home run with Tyreek Hill. They're not going to let you do that. They're great at stuffing the run. They're great at sacks. They led the league in sacks. They led the league in turnovers caused, and we know Tua was a little bit more turnover prone. And I just think it's a bad matchup in general for the Dolphins to go against the Ravens. So I would prefer to see Cleveland, not just for the storyline, see Joe Flacco return to the Ravens, try to knock off his old team, but also for the matchup wise.
Yeah, I agree. I think that Cleveland would give Baltimore the most problems. So if I'm Baltimore this weekend, I'm praying for Pittsburgh to win, and I'm praying for Miami to win. And not only that, Cleveland versus Baltimore, it's a divisional matchup. It's going to be even tougher because y'all already don't like each other.
Yeah.
The coaches, y'all already played each other twice already. So whatever worked the first two times, probably not going to work again in the third, because now we're scheming against that shit between Kevin Stefanski and John Harbaugh. So that's the matchup I want to see, though, for real, too.
Yeah, and then that would also lead to Kansas City playing against Buffalo, which, Josh Allen versus Patrick Mahomes, we get the trilogy, essentially. Right. I mean, Pat's gotten the last two, but, it'll still be nice to see that matchup.
Yeah. So, there's some interesting matchups that can possibly happen. I'm excited for the AFC like that. I mean, and if we're looking at true Super Bowl contenders, honestly, I really just see Baltimore, I see Cleveland. Everyone else, it's a toss-up.
It's a little.
It's a toss-up.
Like for me, it I don't want to say fluke, but if Pittsburgh beat Buffalo, that would be cool. That would be like, okay, they got the upset, but I don't see them like. What are they like? If I see them walk into Baltimore, I'm taking the bank and putting it on Baltimore. Like I have no faith in the Steelers whatsoever, even if they beat Buffalo, because we know Buffalo is a little bipolar up there. Miami, they're just a little too inconsistent. We just have to see how that offense goes and things of that sort. Kansas City, I guess you'll put them in that conversation, because I'm kind of in that mode where, and I know we've said all year, like, Patrick Mahomes has kind of lost the benefit of the doubt, but I'm still a little against betting against Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs, and Kelsey as well. I'm still a little against betting against them. I don't think they've lost entirely the benefit of the doubt when it comes to the playoffs for me. And then Houston, young team, it would be cool to see them, but I think they're just lack of experience, lack of what's it called? Personnel somewhat. They've had a couple injuries and things of that sort. So really Baltimore, Cleveland, I think with that defense, that could carry them to a chip. So I would put them in contentionship as well.
I respect that. This will be good. This will be fun in AFC though. Now we're about to transition to the NFC. I was gonna say something, but I'm gonna wait until after. I'm gonna wait till after to say that. So in the NFC, we got San Francisco with the bye week.
Sure.
They'll be watching the Tampa Bay Buccaneers play the Eagles. That is an interesting game. Very interesting for a multitude of reasons. The biggest of which being the Eagles are just completely nosediving. Not even skidding.
Isn't even the right word anymore. Yeah. Let's say,
Oh, bro, like these folks are literally on the verge of complete collapse.
definitely, it's the plane is on, like they're right. The ground is right here. They're going nose diving into it right
Hey,
now.
look, these people are they're currently hydroplaning into a brick wall, the side of a building. Like they have lost all traction on some bald tires, and they are about to just flip they shit, bro. Because they're playing against a Buccaneers team who
It's
is
hot.
they're on a
They're
roll.
hot.
Like they have all the confidence in the world with Todd Bowles at leadership. Um,
Bucks are at home.
they're going to be playing at
in
home.
Raymond James Stadium.
They won the division for the third or fourth year in a row now. This is not a favorable matchup. It's a tough defense. They got an offense that can get points on the board. Yes, with Baker Mayfield at quarterback,
Still got Mike Evans out
with
there.
Mike Evans at wideout, Chris Godwin on the other end
in the backfield. Like they've got some hitters out there, man. That's not a sucker offense.
In Jalen Hurts, he got hurt. He did something with his middle finger. Yeah, on his throwing hand. I'm sure he's gonna play. I know he's gonna play through it. It's probably not gonna affect him too much, but it happened. AJ Brown, he got hurt in their loss against the Giants last week. The week before that, Devontae Smith was out. The week before that, they lost to the Arizona Cardinals. We said it on this show. Just because the Eagles are playing the Giants and the Cardinals in their last 3 games, those were not walks in the park. And they dropped the last 2. They dropped 2 of those 3.
And almost dropped the first one. Almost dropped the first one to the Giants. Then they come out against the Cardinals, get smacked, lose the division, and then they come out against the Giants and just they almost look like they mailed it in. Like they didn't look like they were out there trying to win the game. And that's the thing about it. They just don't look like they want to win. Like they look like the season is kind of like once they've hit that rough patch, and it doesn't look like they're trying to right the ship at all. They don't look like they're ready to go into a hostile crowd. They're not playing in the comfort of the link. So they're going into Tampa, flying down to Tampa, and they're gonna have to come and show, because Baker's got everything in the world to prove. Right. You know, Baker's out there looking like he wants to, reset his career.
His position. Yeah,
exactly. He's trying to reset his career right now. So you got them, and I just don't think Philly mentally, like I don't want to say, I'm not in the locker room, so I can't tell you, but it just doesn't look like mentally this is the same team that we saw last year. I don't know if it was Big Dom, because it was ever since Big Dom left. I don't know if he was the energy bringer on the team. But
bro, he like everything just went to the shitter after Big Dom got banned from the sideline, putting his hands on what's his name?
Dre Greenlaw.
Yeah. So like I said, I'm putting my money on the Buccaneers. So I think the Buccaneers are the clear favorites in this game.
I got the Bucks. The Eagles, they don't look. I have nothing. I mean, I don't know what I would even say would be the keys to victory for the Eagles that I can confidently say that they would execute. Like I don't know what, because other than be the Eagles, like other than literally play to the talent that you guys have, don't run QB draws on 3rd and 20. Other than like I don't know what I could say in the Eagles' favor. The Bucks have too much. They have all the momentum. They have the personnel. They have a good squad out there. They've got a good defense. They've got a really good offense. Baker's playing. As long as Baker plays like the Baker we've seen the last couple weeks, I have full confidence in the Bucks.
Yeah, they're 1-5 finishing the season. Like that is,
and their one win was close. That one of the worst teams in football.
That was not I mean, this is what you are now. This is the type of team you are. And it's problems all over the field, highlighted number one by that complete target in the secondary. We're going to see Baker Mayfield sling the ball early.
Mike Evans might go for 200, man. I'm not gonna
bro. Like it's gonna be like it's bad how bad it is, and that's the biggest problem. But offensively, minus injuries, Jalen Hurts does not look like the same quarterback he was last year before he got his money. The play calling in general is just questionable. It's horrible on both sides of the ball. Last year they led the league in sacks. This year, just they haven't been getting to the quarterback with the same ease that they did. I'm putting all of my money on the Buccaneers to win at home too. At home, like you said, you got a team who is red hot. You have a quarterback who has something to prove. You got vets all around. You got a tough defense. This is just is designed for the Buccaneers to win right now. It is designed. Like this is written in the script, is what it seems like. I'm not gonna put it past Baker Mayfield to pull a clown job, but I honestly I highly doubt it. I really feel like he's gonna get it done.
I'm right there with you. I got the Bucks. I got the Bucks hands down.
So and next we got a very good game. This is gonna be very nice to see. Matt Stafford's return to Detroit in the playoffs. Detroit Lions playing the Los Angeles Rams. This will be the Detroit Lions' first playoff game since 2016. They lost in the wild card, I believe, in 2016.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm thinking of that. Yeah.
Now they haven't won a playoff game since 92.
Or 92. Okay, 92. I thought it was 98.
So it's been a minute since they won a playoff game. They won their division, but Dan Campbell getting Sam Laporta hurt. I don't want to say getting him hurt, but playing him and running the risk of a star getting hurt. And lo and behold, Sam Laporta got hurt in there last week. Who did they play? What's that team?
The
Vikings.
He got carted off too.
He got carted off. So right now, as it stands, they say Sam Laporta. This is their words. He has an outside shot at playing against the Rams. So pretty much saying like, dog, it's going to be pretty much a game time decision, and it's most likely going to go in that like the unfavorable way. He's not going to play. It was a bonehead decision to keep everybody play when you could only get the number 2 seed if the Cowboys lost. And they were playing the Commanders. I don't think that the odds for that would have been the best to play everybody. You already made the playoffs. You're a top 3 seed. Why are you risking that? Like that's just slow.
You don't have a bye week. Like that was supposed to be your bye week. Your chance to get everybody healthy. Your chance to get their rest, your starters. You earn this. You earn the ability to rest your starters. And we know Dan Campbell's known for his intensity and to always stay active mentality. But it's gonna come with experience. I told you that, like I texted you this, that I think he'll learn from this experience and he'll learn in the future. There's some guys that shouldn't play in this position.
They shouldn't.
Like there's certain guys that that they're I'm not going to use the word disposables, but there's certain guys that the worst, if they got injured, it wouldn't be the worst. But your stars, you don't want Jared Goff getting hurt, Montgomery, Gibbs, Amon-Ra, Laporta, even Penei Sewell. There should have been certain untouchables that just no chance you play. The Chiefs did it. They told Kelsey, hey, there's no way you're playing this weekend, even though you're 30 yards away from getting 1,000-yard season. They still shut him down. Yeah. So Dan Campbell, hopefully he'll learn from this. He's still a relatively young head coach. Not young himself, but he's a new.
He's new to the job.
I think he'll learn from this experience and learn that in the future, you got certain things locked up. It's not, the risk isn't worth the reward.
And on the other hand, we got the Los Angeles Rams, who are like, they've been a surprisingly great team. Yeah, they're also on a roll.
They started off the season kind of rough, but because of some injuries, Cooper Kupp was out, and there are a couple of injuries here and there. But they've turned it up lately, and they beat. I mean, the 49ers didn't play their starters, but they beat them. They're coming off the win against them. They're coming off a couple good wins. I mean, I didn't even really have them making the playoffs. I had the Seahawks over them a couple weeks ago. So I think this is Matthew Stafford's gonna have a chip on his shoulder. Going back to Detroit, going back to where he spent the majority of his career, wasn't really able to find any success, but there's still a memorable time for him. So I think that little extra added I don't want to say pressure, but a little bit of extra added incentive for him to go back and perform well in his old stadium. Rams are on the road; they're going to
Yeah,
Detroit, so
I think it's gonna be an emotional game.
yeah,
He
definitely
made
win
the
or
playoffs.
loss.
But yeah, he made the playoffs 3 times in his career there. He was him and Calvin Johnson, obviously. Those two were the main reasons they made the playoffs after missing it since '93. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like he was the one who got the Lions back into the playoffs. He's seen it all there. I think he played with what's that man's name? Dan Campbell when they went 0-16.
Yeah,
I think.
that's kind of
So,
crazy. Yeah, it was. He was on the team.
So yeah, that's kind of crazy. So yeah, it's gonna be a great game, like just to watch. Like those two teams match up very well. Puka Nacua, he just absolutely snatched the Rookie of the Year award, breaking.
You think so? You think
I
he
think
took
so,
Rookie of the Year?
100%.
I still got CJ just because of where the Texans, what they were projected. Rookie head coach, he's playing the quarterback position. I know oftentimes we kind of glaze the quarterbacks and lean towards them in awards, but quarterback is the hardest position on the field for a reason. And so I personally still have CJ, 4,000 yards as a rookie. He missed a couple games and still hit that. So
Yeah.
I still lean CJ a little bit, but Puka's he's definitely got a shot, and he's deserving. I wouldn't be mad if he won it by any means. So
yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I agree. I wouldn't be. Well, firstly, I want CJ Stroud to win, but I think just the fact that he broke the rookie receiving yardage record and the rookie receiving catches record set by Jalen Waddle a few years ago. I mean, like he's in record books now.
Yeah, no, it's definitely.
I think that the voters might lean to him for that.
Yeah, we'll have to see. It's definitely gonna be a close race. Honestly, I wouldn't be mad if this was the first time they bust out a Rookie of the Year. Offensive rookie.
I wouldn't be mad now.
So like it could go either way. But yeah, back to the game. Puka, him and Cooper Kupp. I think the Lions secondary has been a little bit of a problem. They're getting CJ Gardner-Johnson back, so that's gonna be a big bonus to that defense. But their secondary has been problematic at times this year, and they're going against two of the top receivers in the game. So
yeah, they've had a few firefights where they got to go back and forth scoring. But I mean, like this Rams offense, like they got Kyron Williams in the backfield. This is overall, it's a great matchup on both sides. And then let's not forget, you got big boy Aaron Donald on the defensive pass rush. It's gonna be a fun game. Like we got.
I think this has
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was saying, I think this has one of the highest chances of being a shootout of any of the playoff games.
I was just about to say both teams are top 10 in points per game. They're both they're 19th in the league in points against per game. Both top 10 in total yards per game. And they're both top 20 in yards allowed per game. Like they're both like it's going to be a shootout. So it's going to be a great game on both sides of the ball. I'm excited for that one. That's probably going to be one of the more, and it's going to be Sunday night. I'm super excited for this one. I don't know. That might be the most toss-up game out of all of them. Out of all the games,
I would agree. Out of any wild card game, I would probably agree. I'm gonna lean Rams. Actually, I'm gonna lean Rams on this one. Kind of reluctantly, I think the Lions, mainly because of that Laporta injury. I don't want to say that one player will tip them over the edge, but if I had to put something, if I had to say there was anything that was giving me confidence in the Rams, is Laporta not playing, or even if he's playing, not being 100%. So I would lean Rams on this one.
And that's understandable because, Sam Laporta is one of Jared Goff's favorite targets. He's deservingly so. He's a great tight end.
He set a couple rookie tight end records.
Exactly. And, now you might be having to play without him. Now you're gonna have to go through your progressions differently.
He still has Amon-Ra, so it still has a top
Yeah,
receiver. Still has a top receiver, but that's one less safety valve that
safety
you have.
exactly, and that's one less player that the Rams are gonna have to worry about.
Exactly.
With that being said, I'm still going to bet on Detroit. I've seen them pull some games out in the late going. I've seen them overcome their mistakes. Jared Goff has had a good season, and I think it's in the cards for the Lions to get their first playoff win since the '90s. So
Be a good story.
I'm gonna put my money on the Lions to win.
Yeah, like you said, it's probably the biggest toss up between the two. I have the Rams. If I had to choose, it's probably like 55-45
Yeah,
Rams. Like
it's
that's
gonna be
like
super
my
close.
percentages in terms of like my faith in the team. So it's Rams, but it's not a very confident Rams. It's just I think they can pull it through.
Yeah, it's gonna be a close one, bro. But that's probably my most looked forward to game. Like I can't wait to watch that one next Sunday.
And if the Rams win, they'll likely be the lowest seed, barring a Packers upset. So they would be going against their division rival 49ers.
Yep. And speaking of the Packers, they're going to be versing the Dallas Cowboys on the road at AT&T Stadium. The Packers locked up their playoff berth by beating the Bears for the 10th consecutive time. So, that's as routine as anything else in the world. It's death and taxes, and the Packers beating the Bears. So, Packers back in the playoffs with Jordan Love as their starting quarterback first year.
Shout out Jordan Love. He had a really
overcame
good year.
I'm about to say he overcame some doubt. He's learning himself as a quarterback, and they're learning how to play with him as quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And with all of that being factors, this is a successful season.
Yeah.
Even despite the fact that they're probably going to get twerked on by Dallas, because Dallas they're clicking, then they're at home. This is where they're comfortable at, and this is probably, for being real, this is probably their best shot at a Super Bowl. This is I'm not gonna say easy. Nothing's easy in the playoffs, but this is their best shot at making the Super Bowl. They match up favorably against all of these teams as long as they play at home. And the only time they wouldn't play at home is if they play San Francisco. So,
which is a big that's a big challenge to overcome. So that's why we'll talk about our Super Bowl predictions. But in terms of the Packers, like you said, very successful season. We were seeing who Jordan Love was as a quarterback. He's going to be the guy. He's going to be the guy. They don't even have who is their number one receiver. Like it's Christian Watson. Like he's decent, but
what's that kid's name? What's his name? He went off against the Bears. What's that man's name?
I'm not even sure because I'm not gonna lie, that was not a game that I had paid fully attention to. I wasn't.
Dontavion Wicks.
Okay,
Dontavion Wicks. He went crazy.
Let me see what he had. He had let's see. He had. Or I'm sorry, there was. No, not him. He had 6 catches for 61, but Jaden Reed, the rookie, had 4 catches for 112.
Yeah. Jaden Reed. I'm sorry. Dontavion Wicks had a couple of touchdowns. That's what it was.
Yeah, he had 2 touchdowns. He did have 2 touchdowns. So, but he had 6 for 61, but with 2 touchdowns though. So, but that's the thing. Like, they don't have a real number one receiver. So, what would we see if Jordan Love, like in next season when he gets a real threat outside? that offense is going to elevate. Matt LaFleur, he's done a great job just making what he can of the season. They don't have the best personnel-wise. They don't have the best roster at all. Or they're not even close.
Wow.
Honestly, they probably have one of the worst rosters in the playoffs right now. So they, like you said, successful season. I'd see them getting thrashed, but successful season nonetheless. And if they do manage to pull out a win, boy, I tell you, but the Cowboys, hey, Man, if the Packers manage to beat the Cowboys, I will be on here with the most slanderous statements you will ever heard in NFL history. Like I'm gonna be on their head. I'm gonna be on their ass for real, bro. We'll see though. I have the Cowboys probably 97%.
Yeah, I'm hoping the Packers win. Look, I don't want to. I don't want the Cowboys. I want to see the Cowboys succeed.
That would be hilarious.
I try to be unbiased on here, and I try to remain objective and analyze games in the most professional way possible. But I don't want the Cowboys to win.
You got to be honest.
Yeah, I don't want the Cowboys to win. This was a good season. Everything considered, like they don't even have a 1,000-yard receiver. Jaden Reed is their number one with 793 yards and 8 touchdowns.
Jordan Love still hit 4K with 30 touchdowns.
4K, yeah, 32 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. They're still top. They're 12th in points per game, and their defense is decent too. Like they're 10th in points against.
You gotta get Jair back after he did that stupid.
Yo, man,
man went out. We didn't get to talk about it, but he went out. For those who don't know, Jair Alexander at the start of the game, the Panthers game that they played, he went out when he wasn't a captain, wasn't chosen. He went out on the coin toss and then almost botched the call so that the Panthers could get the Panthers would have got the first half and the second half kickoff the way he botched the call because he didn't defer or because he deferred it. So it was he went out when he wasn't a captain, almost botched the call so they didn't even get a kickoff to start a half. And he got suspended for this week against the Bears, but he'll be back. He'll be back to cover CD, assumingly. So
yeah, that's gonna be a good matchup too because CD went crazy this year. Crazy, 1,700 yards, 12 touchdowns, 135 receptions. Like that's crazy. So for the Cowboys, number one, they gotta get going early. You gotta get going early. Give the ball to CD early, please. If you go a full half like they've done before without CD touching the ball, they can go home early. So CD needs to get the ball early because he deserves it because of his status as a top 5, top 3 wide receiver in the league.
Top 3. Honestly, I got him top 2.
Like him and Justin Jefferson and everybody else.
Reek right there at the 3rd. That's top 3 for me. Jetta's CD, Reek, everybody else.
So that is other than that, I think it's going to be a routine win for the Cowboys. They're playing at home. Like I really doubt that they're going to. They're one of the best teams at home. Like they have one of the highest scoring percentages. And like I said, as long as they don't, well, they better hope the 49ers get upset next round. So that's the only way I feel like they're going to make the Super Bowl is, transitioning into who is the toughest matchup for San Francisco. Toughest matchup.
I got the Rams. I'm going to be honest with you. I got the Rams. Just because, first off, McVay and Shanahan normally gets the best of McVay, but I'm not that. There's a division rival. You see them twice a year. Shanahan and McVay have seen each other 50 times, playoffs or not. So as far as game plan, they know they got that deal. Dallas, I would say they're just personnel wise, I would probably lean Dallas just because they've got one of the better rosters. I mean, they're the 2 seed for a reason. They've got one of the better rosters in the playoffs remaining. Definitely second best in the NFC. But I just don't think they match up well. I mean, we saw what happened during the regular season, and regular season isn't the end all be all. But we saw what happened last year in the playoffs, and then the year before that in the playoffs. Yeah. So I mean, I don't think they match up.
We got a large enough sample size of games between each other.
So honestly, as a 49ers fan personally, my most scared matchup would be going against the Rams because I think Eagles, I'm not scared of the Eagles. Bucks, that would be a good challenge, but I'm not scared of the Bucks. Detroit, that would be a really good matchup. I think they're up there with the Cowboys and Rams in terms of matchup, but I still, 49ers are 1 seed for a reason. And me personally, I wouldn't want to see the Rams just because of the history and how just how much these two teams know each other. But it any game, I have the 49ers over everybody in the NFC right now.
I'm pretty sure we can all tell with that goddamn scarecrow you got in the back. I'm sure we could tell that was not a far off assumption to make. Yeah, we can
That's
see
my homie right there, man.
that damn boof ass prop. You don't even have it hanging up on the wall.
Where's your team pride, man? Where's the Falcons? You need to wear something. You ain't got nothing. I gotta show out somehow.
I'm gonna come and spray paint 7 and 10 over on that wall over there because that's what's defined that for the last 3 years.
Literally, which is crazy.
It's gonna be a good playoffs. I think. Well, before we move on to our next segment,
our weekend.
What's my Super Bowl pick hasn't changed. I still think it's gonna be Baltimore, San Francisco. What about you?
I mean, at this point, I got no evidence to go with anybody else. Like, I mean, it's right now. Last year we saw both 1 seeds make it. Right now it just seems like Baltimore and San Francisco are just so far ahead of everyone else. Like, Baltimore has destroyed everyone else in the AFC pretty much. San Francisco's destroyed pretty much everyone else we've seen in the NFC. And I mean, we've said it multiple times, regular season isn't end all be all, but just it doesn't look like anybody else can hold a candle to these two teams. My only worry going into either of those teams would be rust, because both of those teams rested starters, so they're essentially going 3 weeks without playing football, which is a lot of time. That's a lot of time to not play football. So that would be my only concern for either of those teams in the divisional. But if they win that and they go into the conference championship, I don't care who either of those teams are going against. I got both of them coming out of their respective conferences.
I agree pretty much with everything you said as well. I just don't see a team stopping neither of them from it just feels like destiny for both teams, with just like some of the absolute horrid play we've seen from the Eagles, and the some teams just aren't there yet. Like the Lions, like the Texans. We've seen Buffalo and Dolphins just completely collapse, and self-implode in certain moments in the game. Some teams like the Kansas City Chiefs are who they are, and when it really comes down to it, it's not Super Bowl worthiness. And then there's the Cowboys. So with that, we can move on to the. With that, we can move on to just a little mosey down the 2023-2024 season, and look at some of the most disappointing and some of the overachievers of the 2024 NFL season. I'm gonna start this one off. With disappointment, and with that being the Falcons. Need I say more, bro? This was a super big off season for us. We got Jesse Bates. We brought in Calais Campbell. We brought Caden Ellis in to play linebacker. Bijan Robinson, he was a highly touted draft pick. He fell to us at number 8. We swooped him up. He was a top 10 pick on a running back. And he had a good season. But I expected more. I expected a playoff berth. We had the Buccaneers with Baker Mayfield coming off of bouncing from the Panthers and the Rams. And he just had gotten traded from Cleveland. His career was spiraling to backup quarterback, fallen star status. And he's managed to bounce back and get the Buccaneers to the playoff. The Saints, they finished with a better record than us. We finished 7 and 10.
Not to mention, you had one of the easier schedules in the league,
and we had a very easy schedule. Everything was lined up for us to make the playoffs, and it was just business as usual. There was 7 and 10 average mediocrity. losing to teams that we weren't supposed to, and having some absolutely bonehead moments. So yeah, this was a very disappointing season. And this is a whole team thing. I don't want to just say Arthur Smith or Desmond Ridder. Like this, us as a team, it was disappointing. Our season was disappointing. Everybody on roster should be at home looking back on and being like, damn, this was a wasted year. Oh, this was wasted.
The only player I would give pass to would be probably Jesse Bates.
Oh, Jesse Bates, yeah. Did he make the Pro Bowl? I didn't check the list.
I got it right in front of me. Let me see. Yes, he did. He was the free safety selection for the NFC. So yeah, Jesse Bates. He's probably the only player that I could truly say that they had pretty much no disappointment this year.
Yeah. And you can be a disappointment and have it not be your fault. Like, I'm sorry, Kyle Pitts still has yet to even sniff a fraction of the success he had his rookie year, but another season of disappointment. Like, so I don't want this to be like this wasn't this, I don't want to be the blame game. Disappointing season is disappointing season, no matter whose fault it is.
For sure.
Plain and simple.
Yeah, and so obviously, that was pretty a gimme. For me, I got a couple teams all throughout. As far as disappointing, I know we kind of talked about this. It wasn't necessarily their fault, but the Jets ended up being disappointing just because of the whole situation with Aaron Rodgers not having any quarterback ready to step up in his place. I'll say Chiefs. It was disappointing in the sense it wasn't the Chiefs we're used to. It wasn't the dominate. They made it to 11-6, but it feels like they should be 8-9. Like it doesn't. Right. Like it wasn't what we're used to seeing from them. Broncos, I would say, in a sense, because of what they had turned the season around at some point. Like, I don't want to say going into the season, it was a all in all, just and then the whole mess with Russell Wilson at the end and the whole benching.
That was so...
just like that's what's disappointing for me, just how the season ended up. Like, at one point they had turned the season around. We were talking about them in the playoffs. Then they ended up 8-9. So we're just that for them, the second half of that year has been very disappointing. I wouldn't even say second half. The last quarter of the season was just very disappointing for them. I'll also throw in the Jags for sure. The Jaguars with Trevor Lawrence had a very disappointing season. I said that I tweeted this out the other day. I barely have him top 15 right now. I can confidently give you at least 13 quarterbacks that I would take over him right now.
I can live with that.
And that's as far as the AFC, that's who I would say disappointment. NFC, Seahawks, I say you have to be a little disappointed. I'm surprised they didn't make the playoffs, and it's their own fault. They had a chance. They dropped a couple games there at the end that they should have won. So Seahawks, I would say they disappointed a little bit. Obviously the Falcons, I would say the Saints a little bit, but that would probably be my biggest hitters in terms of team disappointment, season not going how I expected them to.
Well, I'd be surprised if the Saints players don't break off and start their own team. I mean, might as well if they're going to just defy what their coach is doing. So let's just go ahead and expand the team and have a whole player-ran organization.
Player-ran organization is crazy. I don't know what. I mean, no coach, man. Just go out there, call their own play. Let Jameis call the plays.
Well, we've seen some head coaches who maintained a job and have done pretty much something similar, done nothing, called no plays, just freestyling out there. The Raiders pre-Antonio Pierce. But yeah, that I say the Jaguars too were one of the biggest disappointments. That was another one of mine. The Chargers too.
Yeah, because it's like I miss them. That was just
Khalil Mack just rewinded the clock, and what are y'all doing? Nothing. AFC West, this was y'all's how the Chiefs were playing. Y'all had a chance. This was the best chance. You know what I'm saying? Like now, and I know the Chiefs are going to retool for next year. It ain't going to be like this again. And you did nothing but get rid of Brandon Staley, which was much needed. He should have been fired long ago. But yeah, like they were another disappointment. Just wasting away there's wasting Justin Herbert away.
He just got that big bag, so they got him locked up. But wasted it. Keenan Allen was having a good year. Wasted that. Wasted another year of Herbert's prime. Hopefully, whoever they get, it's a very desirable head coach position. So we'll have to see who picks up that mantle. At this point, I think it would have been better with old dude they had before Brandon Staley, the black guy. I don't know. I can't think of his name right now, but
what's his name?
Yeah, I can't think of it right now, but yeah, we'll see who they pick up as long as it's not
Lloyd Pierce.
Yeah, him. I think I kind of think he got hold in a sense, but well, that's another topic for another day. But I that's a very desirable head coach position, so we'll see. I would even think it would be interesting, but one coach I could put to the personnel would be Jim Harbaugh, just because I think Harbaugh would want to play with Justin Herbert or coach Justin Herbert. But that's
I'm an idiot. I said Lloyd Pierce. He was the former head coach for the Hawks. You said black guy. You said yo, I apologize.
Something didn't sound right. I just went with it too. It sounded right.
It sounded right, but I was thinking, Lloyd Pierce and Anthony Lynn. That's who it was. Anthony Lynn. That's who it was. Why is Lloyd Pierce on my mind? I thought of two bald black guys.
Literally. Like the picture in my head is the exact same person.
Lloyd Pierce, he got canned as the Hawks head coach. I remember those days.
Yeah.
So yeah, Anthony Lynn, not Lloyd Pierce. That was so stupid.
But yeah, we'll see what the Chargers end up doing. Got a lot of open head coach vacancies.
Yeah, I heard some names like Dan Quinn being thrown around as well. He's done a good job as defensive coordinator for the Cowboys. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up in a head coaching position somewhere. And this is a pretty good transition. One place where the head coaching job should be solidified 100% is the Las Vegas Raiders. They're one of my overachievers of the year. And not necessarily the Raiders, but Antonio Pierce. Like, he was an overachiever. Like, he got pretty much the scraps of Josh McDaniels, a locker room that was in, I don't want to say in flux, but them boys ain't want to play for him. So he went out and having to prove something to management, having to prove something to the front office. He went out and just completely changed the product that was being put on the field every week. Was there some losses? Yes, but you could just tell by the way, like, the man had to play with Aiden what's his name? O'Connell, not McDonald. Aiden O'Connell. So he doesn't even have a true quarterback one because Jimmy Garoppolo's hurt. So he made chicken salad.
Still doesn't really even with Jimmy G.
Even with Jimmy G, it ain't really the best way. I don't know what. Like, I do know what they're thinking. Oh, Josh McDaniels, Bill Belichick, Jimmy Garoppolo. The shit failed miserably.
It was just Josh McDaniels. I've heard reports that was just his guy. That was who he wanted.
And now you're canned. I hope he never touches another coaching position ever. He can go back to being Bill Belichick's little lackey. Yeah, you can be a side hoe, bro. Go back to being the main squeeze.
Yeah, I definitely Second half Raiders, I'll put them as a team just because Antonio Pierce did a great job, but just the team in general, the outlook on their future looks so much different. Assuming they keep Antonio Pierce, it would be so remiss if they did anything. Well, if he doesn't get that head coaching position, I would be speechless. Like, I have nothing to say for that team if that happens for them. I would say. So second half Raiders are definitely the overachievers. You good? I'm not sure what happened, but I'll keep with my list. I would say in terms of overachievers, I I would kind of throw the Ravens in there. I don't think I had them first seed going into the year. I would kind of throw the Ravens in there. Lamar got his bag, and he showed y'all why he got his bag. He showed y'all exactly what the bag talk was about. So I definitely I would put Lamar himself. He might win MVP. He's leading the odds. So I would put Lamar as an overachiever. The Browns, we didn't expect, or specifically Joe Flacco. Look, I'm here dolo now. Specifically, I'll put Joe Flacco as one of the overachievers. No expectations coming for him. I don't know what like I didn't expect Joe Flacco to come in and be a serious, like, one of the better quarterbacks remaining in the playoffs. Like, I didn't. When you told me, if you would have told me at the start of the season, Joe Flacco would come off the couch and start lighting up teams with 3 touchdowns, I would have called you crazy. I would have called you insane, especially on the Browns. So I would shout out Joe Flacco, Kevin Stefanski making the best with what he's got. He's had tons of losses. Joe Flacco, I mean, he's lost starting quarterback in Deshaun. Oh, Tony's back.
Dog, that was ridiculous, bro. I don't know. It's like the Wi-Fi my whole house Wi-Fi just completely just shattered.
You want to switch me back on the other side?
Yeah.
But yeah, I was still just going through I was just going through a couple more of my overachievers. I had said second half Raiders. I had said Lamar Jackson. He got the bag and he showed exactly why he deserved the bag. Went out because he might mess around and win another MVP. So like he's leading the odds. I have him as my MVP favorite. So Lamar definitely showed up. Browns and Kevin Stefanski just making the best out of all the losses they've taken. They lost Deshaun. They lost even their backup at DTR. They had to go out and get Joe Flacco off the couch. They lost Nick Chubb at the start of the season. They lost Grant Delpit in the secondary. They lost the D lineman. Like, they've just so many losses, and they made the best of what they've done. So I commend Kevin Stefanski and that Browns team for that. I don't want to say I can't too much say overachieve here, but I will point out the black magic that the Steelers pulled to make the playoffs in the sense they did. Like, I don't know. That team is I don't know how they pulled that out. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know. Kenny Pickett had 9 passing touchdowns. It might have even been 6. Let me double check the number. I'm pretty sure over the season Kenny Pickett threw, I know for a fact it was single digit touchdowns. He had 6 passing touchdowns in how many games was that? 6 passing touchdowns in 12 games. So how they were 10-7, I could not tell you. Shout out Mike Tomlin. Texans, obviously one of the obvious overachievers. They went, nobody saw the Texans making the playoffs, much less doing the things that they did. So shout out D'Amico. We already shot him out earlier, but shout out D'Amico and CJ Stroud and just that whole organization for turning around the outlook of that organization. Because, I mean, they were in the gutter, they were in the trenches for the last couple of years, and they've crawled themselves back out. So that's pretty much all I have in the AFC. NFC, Lions. I would say Lions and Packers and Bucks. I would say Lions, Packers, and Bucks all were big surprises. Packers, no 1,000-yard receiver, still made the playoffs. Jordan Love, shout out Jordan Love, shout out Matt LaFleur. Lions, obviously, shout out Dan Campbell, Jared Goff, turning his career around. And then the Bucks, Baker Mayfield having a career resurgence. It seems like that's the story of this year. That with all the quarterback changes that we've had in this year, we've seen a lot of bad play, but we've seen a lot of quarterbacks straight up turn their career around or set the precedence for the rest of their career, such as CJ Stroud and Jordan Love and Brock Purdy and things of that sort. So, yeah, shout out those guys, and I'll let you take the floor with who you have.
Yeah, pretty much. I say Baker Mayfield. He's one of my overachievers as well. Just he's managed to not revive, but make his case for remaining starting quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He played well all season. They're in the playoffs. They won out that division firmly. Definitely Baker Mayfield's on my list of overachievers. Browns too, just for everything that they've had to go through with their pretty much $230 million paperweight that's on the couch somewhere.
I
And
saw
still being able to make the playoffs.
I saw something because we were talking. I know we tried to discuss what would it be like, what would they do with his future. I mean, who's going to take on that contract? Because I saw something that the cap hit would be so bad if they cut him. If they cut him, they would not. The dead cap would be so much they wouldn't have enough to pay a 53-man roster entirely on minimums.
Yeah, that's insane.
That's how bad the dead cap would be if they cut him. So that's not happening.
Yeah,
trading is exactly trading. You got nobody's gonna take that contract without you giving them some picks. So they're stuck with him.
I would say the return would be so it would just be. It reminds me of after 2016 when the Lakers paid Timothy Mozgov and Luol Deng just such absurd amounts of money, and also when the Magic paid what's that name? Andrew Nicholson crazy money, and Andrew Nicholson is still on contract for the Magic till this day. He hasn't played a game since 2017. So it reminds me of that. It took so much for the Lakers to dump Mozgov and to dump Luol Deng that they were still having to pay them after getting rid of them for years after they retired too. So yeah, that was just like I said, he's just a paperweight at this point. Okay, he's not even on the field. They're going to have some type of playoff success, hopefully, and it's going to be nothing. He didn't do a single thing to put them in a position for this. So he's like the person at school that missed all of the group meetings, and then he wants to put his name at the end of the report. He tried to sneak it in where people can't see. Maybe he ain't gonna. He does it when everybody has a right. They're not gonna notice if I just put it right here. No, and I would be the one to go tell the teacher this nigga ain't did shit. Don't give him no ring. If he won a Super Bowl, he don't get this man no ring.
He don't get no A on the project. He didn't do nothing.
Don't give this man nothing. But yeah, the Browns though, with Nick Chubb going out, with just kind of like the carousel quarterbacks that they had to play, and Joe Flacco ended up being the answer. Now he's the team's leader in throwing yards for the whole season. He only played not even a quarter of it almost. And it's another overachiever. I'm trying to think. Honestly, that's about it.
I wanted to also kind of throw in the underachievers, the Bengals, low key. I know Burrow got hurt, but even before that, they were, they started the season extremely rough. Burrow had that calf injury or whatever, but they started rough, picked up a little bit of steam, but then they kind of lost it, and then Burrow got hurt, and then the season just went to shit. So I will kind of throw in the underachievers, the Bengals of some sort.
Yeah, that's understandable. Bengals, possibly the Dolphins as well, just with how they've ended the season. The Chiefs also, they're they're pretty underwhelming as far as what they did. Even though they made the playoffs, I expected them to still kind of have some similarities of the teams of past. They played the Eagles, of course. They were just absolutely putrid in that last stretch of the year. And even before then, they had a lot of holes early that they just got exposed. And when they played the Niners, and ever since then, just never they never could recover.
They just haven't been the same. I mean, we've seen certain teams hit skids this season, and they were one of the few teams that just could not recover. And if they lose first round, then I mean, they will effectively end the season 1-6 with their one win being a 1-score victory over the bottom feeder Giants. So
right,
it's just terrible for the last half for them.
And with that, folks, for my internet does any other jumping jacks, mind you, this is with the internet or Ethernet cable, and it's not the internet's fault. It was like the power. Like you saw it flicker.
Yeah, I saw the lights go out. I saw your lights go out. I was like, I wasn't sure what happened, so I was like,
it flickered twice. I don't know. Like,
we're having some inclement weather. I was a little nervous. I was personally a little nervous for myself because I know it's some heavy rain in the area. Like there's some. I was watching. My father was watching the news report earlier. Some schools are literally closing down tomorrow for the inclement weather. So. I was a little nervous about that. As you see, it clearly affected you in capacity, but we kept the train rolling. We're still good.
Right, I'm saying that it's. I mean, we were already an hour and 40 in this bitch, so this episode was rolling one way or another. This episode was rolling. If it was gonna be just you until the end, if it was gonna be me, I don't care if I'm grainy, if I'm choppy, sound like a robot. This goddamn thing getting posted. I ain't just sit here. It's 12:30 in the morning right now. I ain't to sit here and record it for no reason. But before we exit, we're bringing a new tradition to Hear Me Roar. This is a new episodic series. It's going to be called Who Dat Is. And it's going to be a game show. It's a game show. I, myself, the Tony Hope, will be quizzing Noble Lewis on an obscure player. It can be NBA or NFL. I'm gonna be quizzing him on an obscure player, and he has to just give me one team he plays for. I'm gonna say a name, and he has to give me just one team. One team. If he played for 15, all he has to do is give me one team he played for. So tonight is the first episode of Who Dat Is. And I like to start it off with basketball. Basketball is my sport. I wanted to talk about basketball earlier, but the internet is going to, I don't want it to go out again. I'm on a hot spot right now. So who knows how I look in post production. But today's episode is going to be a basketball player.
It's my weakness. NFL is definitely my strong side, so we might struggle a little early here in Who Dat Is.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
All right. The player name is Dwight Bikes.
Oh, good talk.
Dwight Bikes. I'm gonna give you some hints. I'm gonna give you some common things. He's a point guard. He's 6'3". He played 3 years in the NBA. He spent 2 years in China.
Dude.
So yeah, Dwight Bikes.
He was on 3 different teams, a different team every year.
Yes, three out of 30 teams. I think he was drafted in 2013. He has a stat line of 6.3 points, 1.6 rebounds, and 1.7 assists. He averaged 14 minutes a game.
If you've ever heard this name, shout out you. Say something in the comments if you know who this is. You gotta let us know because I'm gonna throw out a guess, but I have no idea. I'm gonna say only because of the first name. Let me throw out the Magic.
He did not play for the Orlando Magic. You get 2 more chances.
Two more chances. All right.
He played 49 total games.
Wow.
Over 6. Yo, that's crazy. He played 49. And to determine this, all I did was I picked a random year. I did a random team generator, and I just found somebody I've heard of personally.
That
And
was
put a
that
picture on the
was
screen.
because that was especially like you said 2013, so 2013 to 2016. That was probably my lowest years watching basketball. That was probably because I was like middle school for us. That was the years where I wasn't really heavy on basketball, so that's probably the worst time for me. Let me go. Can I get a conference on the second after this guess?
Yeah.
All right, so this guess I'm gonna go. The Bucks.
The Bucks.
Yeah.
Hold on. No.
Damn. All right.
He played for the Western Conference for 1 year and the Eastern Conference for 2.
All right. So let me see. Western Conference 1 year, Eastern Conference for 2. I'm gonna be honest. I've never heard of this guy.
I'm gonna put a picture of him after this.
He'd be the thumbnail.
Let me see. Clicking on this episode, bro.
Let me see. You said what was his? He was a point guard. How tall was he again?
6'3".
So who would? I mean, it's just everybody needs a point guard. Western Conference 1 year, Eastern Conference 2 years. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I've got nothing. Let me just throw a team out there. I'm gonna throw. Let me make this guess. It was rookie year. Was his team trash or good?
They won their division and they made the playoffs, so it was they were good.
2013 won the playoffs. Might have been West or East.
His rookie year was Eastern.
Rookie was Eastern. So Eastern Conference team that won their division and made the playoffs. In 2013. Damn, that's just like the worst year. I'm going to say the 3 divisions. 2013. Who?
Yeah, 5 seconds.
All right, hold on. Let me go in the chip that year. Okay, let me just throw out. All right, I'm gonna throw out the Heat.
The Heat is not an answer. He played for
Pacers,
the Toronto Raptors, the Los Angeles Lakers.
Oh my God, I was gonna say the Lakers, bro. I was gonna default to the Lakers because everybody has been on the Lakers. All right, that's gonna be my emergency guess from now on. The Lakers, because I was literally thinking in my head, if nothing else, he probably played on the Lakers at some point.
I'll say that. Yeah, you got to start developing the strategies because I'm keeping a record. You're 0-1. We're doing this every episode.
We started in raw.
0-1. I'm gonna share my screen and show you the first thing that pops up.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't know who this is. On YouTube. I don't think I've even heard of who this is. I'm gonna have to see this. His name is spelled like that.
Yes, bro.
Yes, bro.
Here we go. I want y'all to see this.
This is Gary Harris's ankles. Can
you hear it?
Yeah.
Onslaught continues.
Well, let's see this one.
Oh,
yeah.
Breaking an ankle.
Oh, I've never.
Hey, pause it before we get I don't want to get copyright hit too many seconds, but that is insane, bro. What? I've never heard of that guy in my life. I'm gonna be so honest. But shout out Dwight Bikes, the very first ever
that is
player on Who That Is. Yeah, my guy. I'm sorry, I don't know. I didn't know who you are. I should have guessed the Lakers was literally on the tip of my tongue. I was gonna say Lakers if I didn't waste that second pick, but shout out Dwight Bikes, I guess.
Yeah, Dwight Bikes. He played at Marquette. Born and raised, or I don't know where he's raised, but born in Milwaukee. So yeah, I did not know he played only 3 years, 49 games in the league. I didn't know he played for the Pistons. That's where I heard of him. He only played 6 games for the Lakers, 14 games for Toronto, 29 games for Detroit. So yeah, we started off Who That Is pretty strong. We're gonna do it again next episode. Twitch is gonna be coming out Tuesday, yeah. So next Thursday episode.
I'm excited to see who. I'm excited to see who it's gonna be.
Yeah, and like I said, it's gonna be basketball and football too. We're gonna get some variation going. We're not gonna go too far back neither. Like everything's gonna kind of remain within our viewing history somewhat. I ain't going back to the 90s because there's a lot of people in the 90s. Like you'll be like, who? What?
I'll be so cooked. I didn't even lose my bike. I'll be cooked in the 90s.
Yeah, and the fact that he has a highlight of him breaking his ankles.
The Raptors won the division in 2013.
Yeah, they won. They won like 48 games.
That was crazy. I don't remember that at all. That's probably low key a bigger surprise to me than Dwight Bikes. I didn't think that
Dwight Bikes
in 2013. That seemed a little bit early for when, because they got knocked out in the first round against the Nets.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember that series. That was a DeMar DeRozan, or no, Kyle Lowry did not have a good series. He choked in Game 7, I believe. He did not have a good game. That was when Paul Pierce and them dropped him off. So yeah, there you go. Who that is? And with that is Hear Me Roar, episode 32. I believe it's 32. Yeah, episode 32.
Real quick. I was laughing earlier because a notification popped up on my phone. Dennis Schroeder reportedly wanted to lead his own team and was apparently unhappy coming off the bench in Toronto. Dennis Schroeder wanted to lead his own team.
Does he know that the FIBA World Cup is over? Does he know that we're playing NBA basketball and not Olympic basketball?
I don't know. How do we tell him, man? I don't know how man. This is the same guy who threw away an $84 million bag and ended up with $5 million that year. So he's clearly not the best when it comes to certain decisions regarding teams. I don't know why he thought in the year of our Lord 2024 that Dennis Schroeder would be leading a team, but
that boy gonna talk his ass right outside the league. He gonna be out of a job. You gonna keep on talking, telling us you want to lead the team. Okay, all right, you gonna lead your ass right to the unemployment office.
Yeah, he thinks he's him, but
no.
Also, shout out Michigan, Wolverines football winning the.
I ain't shouting out nothing.
Hey man, Michael Penix. I wanted him to win, man. He seems like a cool dude. But tough.
Yeah, ACC powerhouse, but we're SEC program over here. That's what we are.
Okay. I don't really have a college team. If I had to pick one, it would probably be USC Trojans. Powerhouse. Okay. Caleb Williams. They're a very disappointing team, so they're probably. But we'll go ahead and with that wrap up this episode.
That's gonna be the episode, folks. It is 12 in the morning. I'm ready to go to bed. I'm tired. My internet went out, and it really it is irritating me so much. So we'll be back here on Thursday. We got some stuff cooking. Might do an episode in person. Put it back on video. Put an episode in person on video. We've been doing it virtually for the last couple of weeks. And we're back. Last week, like I said, we were sick. I'm good. I got some fight news coming. We can talk about that on Thursday. The UFC has some fight news announced as well. NBA basketball, it's a lot of newsworthy stuff. So we'll just cover everything going Thursday. Talk about some more football, whatever comes in the news circuit. Anything else you wanted to say?
No, just stay healthy out there, man. There's a lot of stuff going around, flu, COVID, so there's a whole lot of respiratory stuff. So just stay healthy out there for all you viewers. And with that, I'm pretty good.
All right. This is Hear Me Roar with V. Tony Hope and Noble Lewis, and we are out of here.